You feel it, don't you? That tension when you look into someone's eyes and sense something hidden beneath the surface. Everyone around you carries secrets under their skin. They smile and nod, but if you're paying attention, you catch a flicker of truth in their eyes, a flash of insecurity, a glint of fear. Then it's gone, and the mask returns. In a world of facades and social niceties, you're starving for something real. You want to truly see people, read them like open books, but most only show you the cover. To sense there is more behind the small talk and forced smiles, yet never grasp it. You're not imagining it. Your intuition is right. There is a world hiding beneath the surface of every person you meet. Nietzsche knew this feeling. He peered into the human soul and saw a labyrinth of masks and fears. He believed under every virtue lurks a vice, under every smile, a secret sorrow. To truly understand someone, you must be willing to see what they desperately hide, even from themselves. So if you want to read anyone, prepare yourself. This journey will cut through comforting lies and expose raw nerves. It's not gentle or polite, but it's real. Listen with eyes wide open, and you'll begin to see what lies beneath every persona. The truths aren't pretty, but they are powerful, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. Everyone wears a mask to survive. Yes, everyone. That friendly laughter, the agreeable nods, the perfectly curated persona, it's often a shield. People present the version of themselves they think the world wants, because the world can be harsh. They hide their pain and confusion behind a smile, hoping no one will see the weakness underneath. This mask isn't meant to deceive you. It's meant to protect them. It's a survival mechanism. But if you look closely, you'll see the cracks. A smile that doesn't reach the eyes, a fidget when conversation cuts too deep. In that instant, the real person peeks out, the mask slips, and you glimpse the vulnerability they want so badly to hide. Pay attention to what people rant about, the flaws they loudly condemn in others. When someone obsessively calls others arrogant or fake, ask yourself why it matters so much to them. Often they're wrestling with that very trait inside themselves. We all tend to accuse others of the sins we secretly carry. We hate in others what we fear in ourselves. The liar who insists everyone else is dishonest is often drowning in his own lies. The woman who mocks others for seeking attention may be starving for validation she needs. Every accusation, every pointed figure, is a confession in disguise. Listen carefully and you'll hear their truth spilling out. Listen to the quiet moments, the pauses and hesitations. Silence can be deafening. When a question grazes a nerve and they fall silent, that silence is speaking. If they dodge the topic or give a half-hearted, delayed answer, their words may lie, but their pause screams the truth. What someone won't say can tell you more than what they will say. Words can lie, smiles can deceive. Silence, however, is hard to control. A sudden quiet, a dropped gaze, a tense shrug. These are involuntary. They reveal where a person feels exposed. If a simple question about their past or feelings brings a hush, pay attention. In that silence, their real self begs to be seen. Their true story aches to be told. Beware the person who flaunts their goodness like a badge, the one who loudly proclaims how honest or moral they are, who makes a show of correcting others. Real virtue is quiet. If someone needs to announce their purity or parade their kindness, something is off. Often it's vanity wearing the mask of virtue, a craving for praise hiding behind piety. Often morality becomes a weapon for the ego. The will to power can hide in the kindest disguises. The person preaching constantly may not be driven by real goodness, but by a need to feel superior. They want to stand above the crowd, basking in praise. True goodness doesn't need a spotlight. If someone shines one on themselves, ask what shadows they're running from. Consider the little lies people tell, the quick, reflexive "I'm fine" or "I don't care." We all do it. These lies aren't meant to fool you. They're meant to fool the person saying them. Before anyone else, they're trying to convince themselves. Because admitting the truth, "I'm hurt, I'm scared, I feel worthless," would cut too deep. Self-deception is a defense, the mind wrapping gauze around a wound to dull the pain. We often believe our own lies, but if you watch, the illusion falters. The smile wavers, the casual tone slips, and the mantra "I'm fine" grows hollow. A tremor in the voice or a distant look gives them away. They're not fine. They're fighting an inner war and calling it peace. Have you met someone who needs to feel superior in every room? The man who brandishes his title like a weapon, or the friend who always one-ups your stories. It's annoying, even hurtful. But look past the bragging. Why are they so desperate to stand on a pedestal? Deep down, they feel small. Every boast and every put-down is an attempt to silence the inner voice, whispering, "You're not enough." They climb over others because they fear that without a pedestal, they'll disappear. True confidence has no need to shout others down. When someone must constantly prove their superiority, see it for what it is: a fragile ego begging not to be overlooked. Notice a pattern. Behind so many masks lies fear. Fear is the puppeteer pulling the strings. Scratch the surface of pride, anger, even kindness, and you'll find a frightened heart beneath. We are driven less by what we desire than by what we dread. Don't ask what someone wants. Ask what they fear. Fear of abandonment makes a person cling too tightly, suffocating the very thing they want to keep. Fear of rejection turns warmth into cold distance to avoid being hurt first. Look for the fear. It's the invisible hand guiding them. Find someone's deepest fear, and you'll understand almost everything they do. Listen closely when you hear someone tearing others apart with criticism. Every harsh word, every mocking laugh might just be that person's own reflection. The man who ridicules others for being weak likely fears his own softness. The woman who nitpicks someone's appearance is probably wrestling with her own reflection each night, waging war on what she hates about herself. Projection is the mind's trick. It casts our own darkness onto someone else, so we don't have to face it. The louder someone condemns a trait, the more likely they struggle with it inside. They think shouting about it hides it, but it actually exposes their soul. When you hear vicious criticism, remember, it's rarely about the target. It's the critic's own confession. Look at the person who seems unshakable, always composed, never admitting a mistake. At first glance, they appear strong, admirable even. But is their smile a bit too perfect, their answers too rehearsed? Do they never speak of past regrets? That flawless facade could be hiding guilt. Guilt doesn't always bow heads. Sometimes it puffs out chests. A person who feels they failed will often act faultless to hide their shame. A parent who failed their child might insist on being the perfect pillar of strength, as if that erases the past. Guilt is the shadow behind even the brightest smile. Watch for the strain under all that uncertainty. When life pokes their wound, that perfect composure cracks. In that flicker of panic, their secret shame is revealed. You've heard the grand declarations. "I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm always happy. I never need help." The more someone swings to extremes, the more you're hearing the echo of doubt. It's as if they have to shout over the whisper of insecurity inside. No one is always happy, and the ones who claim they are, they're trying to convince themselves, not you. Extremes are fragile. If someone claims they never feel fear or never shed a tear, That shows how much those feelings scare them. Listen for the exaggeration. It's a thin shell with a small shaking voice inside. When someone insists they have absolute certainty, imagine the questions they're desperately trying to drown out. The louder the proclamation, the more it betrays the tremble in their soul. Have you met the control freak? The one who needs every plan perfect, every detail just so, who bristles at the slightest change. On the surface, they seem responsible, on top of things. But the truth is the opposite. Inside, they're one step away from chaos, and they know it. Their obsession with control is born from fear. Fear that if they loosen their grip, their world will spin out of control. They micromanage and cling to routine with white-knuckle intensity. It's not strength, it's fragility. They think one gust of wind could shatter them. When you meet such a person, look past the bossiness. See a frightened soul desperately stacking sandbags against an internal flood. Then there are those who turn life into a show, always on stage, always performing. The friend who is the perpetual joker, never serious. The social media addict posting a highlight reel of a perfect life. It looks confident, even enviable. So much laughter, so much applause. But what happens when the curtain falls? They dread the quiet after the applause. When the show stops, they're left alone with themselves, and that terrifies them. So the smiles are painted on, the jokes never end, the selfies never stop. It's a dance of desperation. Look at me, tell me I matter. True confidence can sit in silence. Insecurity needs an audience. We like to think we're rational beings, that our beliefs are born of logic. But dig a little, and you'll find emotions at the root. Every strong opinion has an origin in the heart. A person who trusts no one may have been betrayed long ago. Someone convinced the world is cruel probably learned that from cruelty. The mind justifies what the heart has endured. So when you hear someone argue passionately, remember, you might be hearing their wounds speak. They wrap their pain in logic and data, but the pain is still there, driving it all. To understand why someone is as they are, ask what hurt them. People shout their logic, but whisper their trauma. Learn to hear that whisper, and even the strangest convictions start to make sense. Watch how someone treats the powerless, those who can do nothing for them. When a stranger begs for help, or a colleague stumbles in embarrassment, do they show mercy or mockery? Do they lend a hand or look away? In that moment, they reveal their character. It's easy to be kind when kindness costs nothing. It's easy to be humble when you're on top. True strength is revealed in how one treats the weak. A person who meets vulnerability with kindness has made peace with their own frailties. But the one who mocks the vulnerable is just a frightened child inside, trying to prove he isn't weak. Cruelty toward the weak is the loudest admission of fear. Picture the friend who overshares every detail on social media, chasing likes like lifelines, or the loud one in every group, cracking jokes and demanding the spotlight. It's easy to roll your eyes and call them attention hungry. But look closer. Often it's not vanity at the core, but fear. Fear of being invisible, of living and dying unnoticed. They chase attention not because they're vain, but because they're haunted by the fear of being forgotten. Every story they tell, every outburst is a plea. Don't let me disappear. They're not shallow at all. They're scared that without the noise, they'll fade into silence and no one will care. Sometimes what looks like pride is really the fear of not mattering at all. Have you noticed someone who relentlessly attacks another's success or happiness? A colleague sneers about the rising star at work. An acquaintance belittles a friend who just found love. It sounds like criticism, even righteous anger, but feel the bitterness behind it. That bitterness? It's envy, the pain of seeing someone have what you lack. Rather than admit that longing, envy dresses up as judgment and ridicule. The critic might sneer, "He is so full of himself," but inside a voice whispers, "Why not me?" When someone's disdain for another seems overblown or oddly personal, suspect envy. Our past haunts us in subtle ways. If you want to know why someone is as they are, look at who they were when they were most vulnerable. A person who never felt safe as a child might grow up to seek control over everything, chasing the security they never had. A person who was belittled might become painfully shy or a perfectionist, determined never to be judged again. We all carry an inner child, and often it's that child running the show. When someone overreacts to rejection or clings to a person who hurts them, consider the child inside who thinks this is normal. We replay old stories, hoping for a better ending, but until we recognize the pattern, we repeat it. See the child within, the wounds from long ago, still unhealed, still guiding their steps. Look at the patterns in a person's life, the repeated cycles, the déjà vu relationships and failures. People may lie with words, but their patterns tell the truth. The friend who always ends up heartbroken, why does the same story repeat? The man who quits every job as soon as he has to answer to someone, what is that pattern saying? These aren't coincidences, they're reflections of inner beliefs and unresolved pain. Someone who feels unworthy often sabotages anything good. It's the only story they know. Someone who fears abandonment chooses partners who leave, reliving that first heartbreak over and over. Patterns are a confession. Recognize the pattern, and you understand the unspoken fear or desire underneath. If you want to see someone clearly, watch what they repeat. Patterns don't lie. So why peer behind these masks? Because it frees you. When you see the hidden pain driving someone's cruelty, their actions lose power over you. An insult that would have cut deep feels different when you realize the insulter is just hurt, projecting their wounds onto you. Confusion turns to clarity, and anger turns to compassion. Reading people this way isn't about judging them from above. It's about understanding and finding peace. The next time someone snaps at or lies to you, you won't react so quickly with hurt or anger. Instead, you might pause and see the frightened child behind their eyes, the insecurity beneath their arrogance. Your anger melts and you remain steady. Their storm can't shake you because you see right through it. A funny thing happens when you truly see others. You start to see yourself more clearly. You catch your patterns, your defenses, your little lies. You recognize when you're wearing a mask or projecting your fears onto someone else. The understanding and patience you give to others, you begin to give to yourself. The more clearly you see others, the more honest you become with yourself. This knowledge is power, not over others, but over yourself. You won't be easily manipulated by flattery or devastated by a harsh opinion, because you see through them now. You gain control over your reactions. You become harder to fool, harder to provoke, harder to sway. In a world where everyone is flinging their pain around, you will stand apart, aware, compassionate, and far less shaken by the drama. The eyes that have learned to see truth can never be blind again. Once you've witnessed what lies behind the mask, you can't pretend you haven't. You are awake now, in a world that prefers to sleep. That is your edge. That is your strength. Now the choice is yours. You've heard these truths, seen the patterns. What will you do? You could forget it all and slip back into the comfort of ignorance. See only the easy surface. Many do. It's understandable. Truth is harsh and it demands responsibility. It might feel easier to keep the blindfold on, to say people are simple and everything is fine. You can try. Or choose the harder path. Keep your eyes open, no matter how harsh the light of truth. Dare to look deeper. When someone's words sting, consider what wound in them it comes from. When you catch yourself wearing a mask or judging someone, stop and ask why. This path isn't easy. Truth can hurt, but it's real, and it's the only way to genuine understanding of others and yourself. If you choose truth, you are not alone. A few others carry that light in the dark. When you meet them, you'll recognize it in their eyes. The same depth, the same refusal to be fooled. And that will be enough. Remember the feeling that people were more than they seemed? You were right. Now you hold the lantern that reveals what was hidden. Use it. Life is too short to dance with phantoms, to mistake masks for faces. Demand authenticity from yourself. Once you live in truth, the world can't deceive you. With each mask that falls, you come closer to reality. All these insights point to one thing: live honestly and authentically. See others truly and let yourself be seen. Tear off your own mask. Look inward without flinching. Do for yourself what you now do for others. It's the hardest step, but it changes everything. In Nietzsche's words, become who you are.